Hi everyone, this is our Friday edition of Social Flow's Coffee Talk, and today we want to talk about Snapchat and the fact they've decided to stop sharing ad revenue, which on the surface, Jim, sounds almost alarmist. Let's start with you.
Well, it's interesting. I think it's a logical extension of a direction Snapchat's been going for a while. We've been talking quite a bit about the relationship between advertisers and the media companies and the relationship between advertisers and social networks. And so Snapchat doesn't like to call themselves a social network. They've sort of redefined themselves as a camera company. And so they've moved into this content licensing model where they're saying, no, we want to have the entire relationship with the advertiser. You, as the media company, will license your content if we're interested in it, but we're not going to let you have your advertiser relationship with the media company, at least not on Snapchat. And that looks a lot more like a television network than it does a social network. It's really a very different business model.
What's your take, Frank?
I think from a product direction, it gives them a lot of room to add value to the user experience and to put that front and center. Instead of trying to monetize it through the traditional means by extending the banner ad or making an old unit fit into the new model that they're developing, they can work to find things that work for their user base and monetize them in new and novel ways. And I think the first and prime directive of Snapchat right now is to make sure the user experience is the best it possibly can be, and they're not willing in any way to tamper with or degrade that.
So would you say it's good for Snapchat, but bad possibly for clients, marketers?
Well, I don't know. This is my position to say it's good for Snapchat or not. I think obviously they think it's good for them. I think it takes them it's very different for Snapchat, at least from where media companies have thought that they were going. And so we've got these diagrams that we've talked about that show sort of an oversimplified view of the media company being in the middle of the advertiser-consumer relationship, right? And historically, whether you be on print or broadcast or web, that's historically been the model, right? The media company has a relationship with the advertisers. They create and aggregate a set of users who consume content, and then the media company sells access to that audience via its content, right? And so that's a traditional form of media company revenue, whether it be the print, the broadcast, or the web. Social networks changed that, right? So now advertisers can go straight to Facebook, they can go straight to Twitter, they can go straight to other social networks to have that relationship, as well as the media company relationship. And so what Snapchat is saying is we're going to break that completely as it relates to Snapchat. You are not going to have an advertiser relationship and extend that to Snapchat. We will have the relationship with the advertiser. That's a pretty fundamental change.
Which seems incongruous, given traditional media relationship, social media, and how, like you just said, like this seems like almost Back to the Future, or is it the reverse of Back to the Future? It seems analogous, right?
Well, the game for advertising and marketing has always been to garner attention and then to use that to direct it towards some end that serves the people that are advertising with you. This isn't anything new, except for the fact that Snapchat's in a position where they don't have to cede any of that control to a third party.
If you're a content provider, Jim, and you woke up and you saw this headline and you had no idea it was coming, your first thought is what? A, what's your first thought? And B, what is your course of action?
Your first thought is probably going to be disappointment because you've wanted to get access. What does Snapchat bring to the table? They bring an audience, right, and a really compelling platform and a way to engage with an audience. And every creator of content wants it to be seen. And so to the degree that Snapchat is yet another way that an audience has been aggregated that can interact with your content and consume it, then you want your content to be there. And of course you want to make money off of it. So now it says that that's going to be a much more restrictive funnel. It's already been very restrictive. There were only 21 Discover partners for the longest time. And so it's not like every publisher who wants to be on Snapchat can have a deal to be on the Discover tab. And now what it says is that's probably going to be even more restrictive. We'll see how many partners Snapchat wants to sign up, and we'll see what the economic relationship ends up being, because the publisher has to decide it's worth the amount of money they're being paid to provide that content, and that's where the negotiations come in.
I mean, just from a business perspective, they've introduced scarcity into their model, and that's going to drive the price and the premium higher. So it's a pretty smart move to come out the gate, and it's not like people aren't going to want to buy access into that network. So they have a few chances to experiment and see what really works for them.
That's good point. And I just want to add on to that scarcity point. I mean, but contrast that with Facebook and Twitter, right? So I don't care what media outlet you follow as a consumer. If maybe you're a New York Times person or a Wall Street Journal person or a Fox News person or whatever your media preferences are, I can almost guarantee you at least to sort of the top 1,000 or 2,000 media outlets out there, are putting their content on both Facebook and Twitter, right?
Right.
It's just there. So you're almost guaranteed, if you're on Facebook or Twitter, that you can see the content that you like to see because the media companies are putting it there. To Frank's point, with scarcity, now with Snapchat, number one, that's never been the case because not everybody is on Snapchat. And
Right.
now with this announcement, it's going to be even less the case. The only companies that are going to have their content on Snapchat are likely to be a very specifically selected and curated set of companies that Snapchat chooses to put there. It's a very different model, and it is very much relying on scarcity, not ubiquity.
Yeah, the scarcity thing I find it sort of confusing. I mean, I'll do a kind of a crude analogy, but like with when iPhones come out, the new iPhones, if you can't get a hold of one, it seems to draw. I mean, it draws more demand, right? People line up, they can't get it, they assume it must be fantastic. But in this case, it seems like scarcity seems almost like a confusing one to me because, I mean, you're right, you can drive up prices, but at some point, isn't scarcity bad? Like, don't you want to bring more people into the tent?
Well, if you're the one of the ones in the tent, scarcity is a great thing, right? So you'll probably put more effort. So the media companies that do have these licensing arrangements will feel like, okay, it's worth putting extra effort into Snapchat as a platform. So
if you're in, you're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a difference between the Apple model when they release a new model and there's not enough of them. You're basically waiting in line for days to beta test someone else's hardware. You're not sure it's going to work and you're going to find all the mistakes. In the case of Snapchat, there's a ready-made audience that's there and there's not a lot of competition for the message and the time that you're going to spend with them. So it actually is a better looking buy because you don't have to face a saturated set of advertisers in there. For the people that are first through the door at Snapchat, that's actually going to look really good and it's going to set a good case study and baseline for Snapchat to go out to a broader market with it.
All right. Yeah. Very, very interesting. I've learned quite a lot. Hopefully our viewers have as well. Okay, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again very soon.